How's it? Welcome into the Arsenal Standard. I am the Bearded Gooner. You could call me BG, and I am joined right now by my very good friend, although we've never actually met in person, so I don't know how good of friends we would actually be. But he's 3 time zones away. One of these days we'll figure it out, but he is Mikey Hers FC. Mike, how are you?
What's up, sir? I like that. You know what? I feel like I have to buy somebody a beer in order to establish friendship. So I'm gonna just Venmo you a tenner for you to have a beer on me.
No, that's not how that works, sir.
I'm going to get the next person closest to you to buy your beer. There you go.
No.
We'll find a way, sir.
One of these days, I will end up in California, or you will end up in Pittsburgh, and we will have proper pints, and we will become proper friends.
I promise you, he won't end up in Pittsburgh.
We'll see.
What are the chances? Huge Steeler fan, apparently.
Or as they say across the pond, we'll end up as proper mates. Although I'm not really sure exactly what that means to those folks across the pond, so it might mean something that we don't want to. Anyway, I digress. And joining us, although he claims that he's going to be bored to tears with this show, that remains to be seen. We'll see if he does squirt a little.
I'm already bored.
At least from the neck up. I do always have to introduce you as my co-defendant. I don't know. I kind of like that. But it is the OG, Horse Bros. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing good.
I'm sorry not to interrupt. You come back to it, but happy Father's Day, boys.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Ryan, please take over.
No, good. I'm watching New Zealand and Egypt on one screen, and on the other screen, I'm watching the end of the New York Liberty and the Los Angeles Sparks. Yes, WNBA. You heard it here, folks. Not a shock to Mike one bit.
Oh, I'm not shocked by this either.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, but
the shock for me wore off a while ago when you were like, "Oh yeah, okay."
I will say, your will to watch non-quality football is amazing to me.
You don't think New Zealand, Egypt is non-quality?
Gee, I'm gonna turn on the TV to watch fucking New Zealand. I mean, please, cameraman,
baby. And it's funny because the last time we were all live together, I was watching New Zealand. I was watching New Zealand, Iran. So
yeah, it was Monday night. That's crazy. Yeah.
New Zealand. Yeah. So.
Anyway, so we're going to deviate for maybe about an hour or so, maybe not quite, from your usually scheduled Arsenal content here on this program. Tonight we're going to tell you a little bit about us, tell you a little bit about the show, about the brand, the Arsenal Standard, what this means to us. And when, we talk about who we are, it just means from an Arsenal standpoint. Obviously not getting into personal details or anything like that, but if you'll allow me a bit of a monologue, the Arsenal Standard is something that I came up with, and the more that I thought about it, and trying to rebranded because the former title of this station and this show, the Loose Cannons, was picked up by someone else with a far larger following than what we have here, and I did not feel like dealing with that nonsense. So we've rebranded, but I like what I like what we've done with it. I think it's good. And the Arsenal Standard, and the tagline is supporting the Arsenal but demanding the standard. And what we will try to give you with these shows is a bit comedic, informative. We do like to banter with each other, and we don't take ourselves too seriously. Although we would like to take the show seriously, and we would like to increase numbers and be a podcast and a YouTube show that people turn to when they want Arsenal content. We want to be one of the go-tos, and I think that overall we put out a pretty good product where I think we're all very knowledgeable. I think we all know what we're talking about, but we also have strong opinions, and it makes for good banter. It makes for good back and forth, especially Ryan and I. While I'm not afraid at all to tell him when I actually do agree with something he says, he's a little afraid to tell me the same thing, but that's okay. He's warming up to it. I'll just rub his back and whisper sweet nothings in his ear, and he'll tell me. But no, we give you good banter. I think we'll give you good opinion. This show will not be a heavily analytical show. I personally am not an analytics guy. I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not somebody that will use numbers to justify my eye test, if you will. I'm an eye test guy with everything when it comes to sports. I trust what I'm seeing, and I trust my knowledge of what I'm watching. That is not to say that there's anything wrong with analytics or numbers. I personally am not one that will get into it too often. I will here and there investigate numbers for sheer curiosity. I will look at numbers after a match to just have a general knowledge, but they will never be a sticking point for me. I feel like Ryan is probably more the numbers guy, and Mike, I kind of feel like you might be kind of halfway in between, to be perfectly honest with you, which is why I think this works so well on this program. But we'll be opinionated for sure. You'll definitely get a lot of that, but it's not going to be cheerleading for the sake of cheerleading or toxically negative for the for the sake of clicks. We're not rage baiting here. Mike, get ready. Here's your surprise, sir. And joining us all the way.
Hey, my boy,
and a very
Ryan.
happy Father's Day to you as well, sir. The real Ryan is here. I'll get back into the monologue in a sec, but real Ryan, how are you, sir?
Good, man. Great Father's Day. Got to watch some golf. Got to be around water for a little bit, which was nice. So yeah, we're great. How about you guys?
Good. All good here, man. All good here, boys. I won't speak for you.
Beauty.
So what we're doing, Ryan, just to clue you in here, just it's an introduction show to the rebrand of what we're doing here. A little bit about ourselves, what to expect from the show. And, a little bit about ourselves, just, from an Arsenal standpoint, things like that, which we'll get into in a little bit. So, but the show itself, here again, a bit comedic, informative, banter, opinion, not so much analytics. We'll talk tactics here and there. Ryan's a big tactics guy, and OG Ryan is a big tactics guy. Mister, I play drunk men's league every Tuesday night or whatever it is. I don't know. He's running up and down the pitch with a 40 in his hand.
More than me. I'm not going to say anything.
Well, I can't spell. God bless him. He's running. I can't spell run. If the only way I'm going to run is if someone's chasing me with a loaded gun. And I'll be honest with you, depending on the day, I'm not sure I'd run then either. But anyway, I digress. I want to start things. So that's a bit of an overview of the show. So what we don't want to do is we're not going to give you disgustingly toxic positivity or disgustingly toxic negativity. We're not going to celebrate the club for the sake of celebrating the club if we don't agree with it, but we're certainly not going to rage bait either and go for the clicks that other unfortunately well-known programs will do. That's not us. I like to think that I'm a pretty real guy. I'll tell you when things are good. I'll tell you when I think things are not so good. And I think I've assembled a cast here of characters that will do the same. They're not just gonna, they're not gonna sugarcoat something, and they're certainly not gonna rage bait you. So, I need a spot to get all of the thoughts that I have in my head about Arsenal out. This is my release. This is my platform. I enjoy this. I enjoy talking with these three gentlemen. And a few others that will certainly join us later. Probably once the season starts, we'll have some other guests on as well. But these guys right here, or these three other guys right here, are the mainstays of this program. You'll see them at various times. But that's why I do this. And I guess before we get into Arsenal Central, as it pertains to you, real Ryan, I'll start with you. Why do you do this? Why come on here and do this with us every so often?
It's one of those things, like, I think more recently, maybe in the past, like 6 or 7 years, I've had the opportunity to be able to watch like every single game, every single second, and listening to 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 podcasts a week. So you feel that, you have an opinion, you feel the team well, or what makes us tick and the things that we need or don't need or whatever. So you have all these thoughts, and outside of Twitter, there's not really a lot of places to talk about it. And even my friends that are Arsenal fans, like, I'm trying to get in the weeds with them, and they're like, bro, I just watched the games. Like, I don't really like, cool. Like, I mean?
Hey,
like,
good talk.
Yeah, exactly. So they can't really like get stuck in like I want to, and and you guys have such great opinions, and you guys are just like me. So, and even the guys in the chat and whatnot, and they're contributing and talking back and bringing up great ideas to talk about. So I love that. So to me, that's the main reason why I'm so excited to be doing this, and why I do it is because my inner circle of fans, just aren't enough. And I love getting feedback from everybody and chatting. So it's fun.
Yeah, good stuff. Mike, you've been at this for a little while. I'm kind of going in reverse order of tenure, if you will, in this universe. But you've been at it for a little while. You were doing your own thing for a while. You're
Yeah.
a part of this program whenever you want to be. You know that. So, but what makes it click for you? What drives you into this?
I think similar to Ryan, it's like I was trying to think of, and Ryan, I'm going to come back to you because I have a follow up question to something you said. So,
Okay.
one of the first podcasts I got into, I'm pretty sure it was the Gooners podcast with our good friend Mike Feinberg.
Shout out, Mike.
Doesn't podcast all that much anymore, right? But after him, it was the Gooner Talk, but back then with Craig, and then Burke and Wonderland, and I got close to Mike, and Tom would occasionally allow me to be on the podcast as like a special guest, and this was very seldom. Like every once in a while, this was a kind of a fan inclusion type of thing, and that's where I met and started networking, so to say, with Owen Young. Owen Young is another gentleman that doesn't podcast a whole lot after he started a family, and I get that because finding time to do this is very difficult. But yeah, Owen Young started having me on the Guna Crack very very regularly, and I kind of got into the rhythm of doing it, and I always was a host. I was always a guest, excuse me. And I was like, man, I wish I could find somebody to put me on a podcast where I'd never have to be a host, because I feel like I'm going to be flipping horrible at it. Well, after Owen's podcast went bye, Mike Feinberg, Andy, and Owen and Jared Carter, for that matter, stopped doing the podcast as often as they used to with the Gooners podcast. I was left just hanging out with Tom occasionally when he would throw me out an invitation. And then I just was like, you know what? There's a lot of opinions, and this wasn't even a good time of Arsenal. It's not like I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to talk about all the fucking winning we do. It was more like, I just want to talk. I just want to be able to have an opportunity to have a podcast and be able to do it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start inviting a few people that I get along pretty well on Twitter. I'm gonna throw this out, and I always laugh because one of my good mates, Kelly, I swear to this day, I tell him, the day I threw out the invitation to him to podcast, I genuinely thought, and if anybody knows his Twitter handle, you'll understand why I thought this way. I genuinely thought Kelly was going to tell me go fuck myself 10 types of ways, because Kelly is normally not the super bubbly, inviting type of person, at least based on his social media, and then turns out to be one of the best fucking human beings I've ever met. And first him, then Sebi, then Chris. We had Ryan from Indiana for a little bit, and then here we are 5 to 6 years later, and I'm still podcasting because it's still fun. So as far as why do I do it, I got to tell you, it's easy to talk about something you love. I mean, that's the best way I could describe it. I gave up on, let's call it conventional TV and conventional cinema nearly a decade ago. Like I really can't. If you tell me, hey Mike, did you watch this movie? I'm like, last couple of movies I've seen in the movie theater has been like Frozen and Mario. So like I don't. It's not a me thing anymore. I kind of gave up on conventional, TV and movie theater. So like I literally watch 2 to 3 football games a week, and that's like literally all I watch. So it's really easy to talk about something where you're so heavily invested in this, right? Because when the game's not on, you're listening to podcasts. When you're not listening to podcasts, you're on Twitter, and it's summertime, you're following the transfer news. And I was like, it's just a great hobby for me to have, like I could think of a million worse things I could be doing than chatting with good friends about something in common. So yeah, no, it just, here I am, almost 6 years in. One of the questions I was going to ask for Ryan, just because I was a little, I was curious at the end, as you said, you listen to podcasts. if you guys don't mind, if you guys can remember, what are some of the first or second or third podcast that you kind of dived into? Because like I feel like we're showing our age at this time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to keep the two Ryans separate. Real Ryan on the left, because you guys are wearing the same jersey, and
that's crazy.
I can't tell you guys apart, but I'll right Real Ryan, left OG Ryan. I got it.
So actually, it's funny you mentioned Birdcamp Wonderland. I think that was the first one I started listening to after the games. It's kind of where it started, and then I was listening to LaGrove was another one when they started doing their pod, and then Arscast, and then I was doing obviously the Arsenal Vision. So I think those are like the main four, and then now I've done Handbrake Off, which is in the mixer now. I've done a little bit of Latte Firm, after post match, anytime he, does something with anyone, and he's getting, journos on there now too, talking transfers and stuff. So yeah, it's and I think Jacob Hawley's in one too. I just forget the name. I don't even know if I have it saved in my library, but I like him a lot too. So it's like 6 or 7 now. It's funny because they just pump out like 3 or 4 episodes a piece. So it's honestly so hard to keep up. Sometimes I'm like, man, it seems like it's all you're listening to, like in the car, at work, or whatever, like just background. So yeah,
absolutely. So I was gonna say, sometimes I feel bad that I feel like there's been a rise of really, really good content creators out there, and like I sometimes find myself missing James B from Goonerverse, and I'm like, Mike, come on, dude, you got to make time for this guy because he's flipping awesome. But there's so many to choose from. It's difficult, so to say. So yeah. All right, some of the OG podcasters. I believe Mike Feinberg calls Danny the GFP the podfather, if you will, because he was kind of the start for a lot of us.
Yep.
All right, take it away, BG. I'll stop cutting in here, bro.
No, you're fine. You're fine. This is what it's all about, man. OG, you and I have been at this for 7 years now together, and in one way, shape, or form, kind of doing our own thing for the better part of that 7 years for sure. But just despite our marital spats, what brings you to this? Are you muted?
No, I was unmuted, and then I muted myself when I started talking like a clown. I just love talking about the game I love. I've been playing it in some capacity since I was 3. Fell in love with Arsenal, and it really started picking it up when we weren't too good, and I just had a lot to say, needed a place to say it. Found the Ars Bros from Australia, 2 brothers. They made sense, and they were funny as hell. And it was just my vibe. I like talking about tits and ass and poop and jacking off, and yeah.
And we're canceled. Cut the black.
And no, but they make talking about, I think, soccer or football fun for the average viewer or the casual viewer. Was talking to them for a little bit. Next thing you know, I'm part of the show. I'm part of the group, and the rest is history. I don't really watch listen to that many Arsenal podcasts. So listen to other stuff that isn't Arsenal related. But I watch 1 or 2 just to kind of wet the beak. If I can't podcast right away, I'll have something that I can't get out right away. Really, mainly it's right now it's Arsenal Vision, but who knows? Might be the Ars Bros sooner rather than later. But yeah, I guess I love the game. I love the sport. Arsenal is cool too, but I can watch and talk about soccer for seems like hours and days and months, and it's awesome. And I want people to find it awesome too, which I know in America it's a little more rare to come by.
I'm not laughing at you.
Ryan,
look at your phone.
Oh yeah, look at your phone, Ryan.
Real
I was gonna say, stop trying to bait me to
send
talk
you
about the
something.
World Cup, Ryan. It's not gonna work.
This is.
Look at my phone. My sister texted me. I shouldn't be saying what I'm saying about jacking off.
No,
that's
no,
it.
it's not that at all. But now this is the content that people eventually are going to pay for, boys, because
I didn't.
Here I am sending a text message. Real Ryan, I'm sending this to you.
Oh, okay. I just saw this. Okay. I
Um,
love me some. I love me some Dean.
yeah, that's tremendous. That is, oh boy. Ah.
Are you kidding me?
Anyway,
I literally had to look at my phone and Salah scores. Fuck you, BX. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, BX. Just mad I had to look at my phone and I missed the goal.
Yeah, that's a nice goal.
So we've covered the show, you know, kind of what we're doing here, what you can expect. I mean, and the goal of this, at least for me anyway, is to like you guys just talked about, getting in the rotation. You know, I want listeners, I want people to put us in their rotation. I think we offer, we offer a lot. You know, it's not just opinion and analytics. It's here again. We're having a good time. It's four friends, whether we've met in person or not. It's four friends sitting around talking about the Arsenal. And one thing that I will say about this and maybe my history of doing this is I've known for a long time, and I mean a long time, that I've wanted to do something like this. This is what I went to. This is what I went to school for. It's what I went to university for, college, whatever you want to call it. I wanted to do this, and unfortunately, life happened, and it never materialized for me until the invention of YouTube and the internet, and now we can do all of this and the things that we're doing, and you know, get it out there to the masses. But it's always been a dream of mine to talk about sports, and I have found myself leaning into talking about the Arsenal more and more. And over the years, this club has become such an ingrained part of my fabric. I mean, it's, and I'm sure you guys are the same way. Like if you look at my closet right now, it's just Arsenal kit, Arsenal kit, Arsenal kit, Arsenal kit. Like everything, for the most part, that I do revolves around this football club. And I've been fortunate to be able to get over to London, to the Emirates, go to matches, and really immerse myself in this community. And I think that, and podcasting, doing the YouTube thing, and you know, we all know Magic Mike around here. For me personally, he was a bit of an influence for me in this, and I've been able to meet a lot of people through this and interact with a lot of people. And I think that's the biggest draw for me is the community and the atmosphere that we create, because I don't have this. I'm very curious. Do you guys, I don't listen to anything else sports related other than Arsenal as far as podcasts go. I don't listen to anything NFL, Major League Baseball. I don't listen to anything NHL or hockey or even college athletics here in America. I don't listen to a thing other than Arsenal shows. And yes, the usual suspects for me, if anybody's wondering, would be, you know, where I kind of started the first. Not sure I want to give out the first one that I really started with. It wouldn't even say it was a podcast. It was on YouTube, and it was AFTV and the fan videos, the fan reactions after matches is kind of where I really started immersing myself into Arsenal content. But from there, it was the usual suspects: Arscast, Arsenal Vision, Mike, and Andy.
Were you on it when you were like in England and they put you on Tanner, or did you see just like you just started watching AFTV?
Oh, you mean no? I have done an interview with them twice. It was one of like the long video of like random fans, like, "Hey, you come here, say something real quick." Okay, he's done. Now the mic goes to you, and okay, he said, "Hi, how are you?" That's all he got to say, and now the mic goes over here. Now the mic gets tossed over Robbie's shoulder, blah blah blah, whatever. And I've done it twice, but that's really probably where it started for me, was just watching, and it was the lean years. You know, it was the really, really lean years, the end of the Arsene Wenger era, when I really started getting into the content thing. And I'm not proud of you know, kind of where it started for me, but I'm proud of where I am now, for sure. But yeah, Magic Mike has certainly been a big part of this for me. So I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge him myself. So, but yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about us individually. Maybe why the Arsenal. If you have a moment, um, Mikey, I'll come to you first. You actually brought up a good idea. The first Arsenal match you ever watched, and a memory. And obviously for you, there is a core memory there of the first match that you watched. And I would just say, to the two Ryans, think about it, but just a core memory of the club, that you have that really kind of cemented this for you. But Mikey, I'll start with you and just go ahead. The core memory of the first game you ever watched.
Yeah. So, born in America, shocker to some people. There's a joke in there somewhere.
I gave you the joke already earlier off the air, but okay.
I ended up moving to Central America when I was 8. And when I was 8, that's when I fully got immersed and exposed to the sport of football, right? Because let's face it, football is not that popular right now, let alone in the 90s, right? Yeah, to say the least. So I immersed myself in this culture, and everything is football over there. There's, nobody has an American football. They dabble in basketball, a little bit of volleyball, and that's about it, right? Slowly but surely, I start watching, and I would go over to my friends' houses, and there would be games. And my very first game, without realizing it was even Arsenal, because I'm just seeing these two teams play, one in red, one in blue and yellow. It was Arsenal versus Parma. Back when Parma used to be Parma, and Alan Smith was my first goal that I got to watch, and it left an impression. It was cool because it was a final. I had no flipping idea what it was, what was the occasion. For me, it was like, oh look, these two teams, didn't know they were from different leagues. Nothing. I knew absolutely nothing about this, other than it was on TV in a lot of places, because over there, they had far more exposure to all the TV channels due to the cable just stealing signals from other places and just broadcasting them. So here I am, knee deep in every single league in the world. I'm watching England, I'm watching La Liga, Serie A, and then school starts, and here I am trying to figure out Spanish as a second language, because I didn't know a damn word when I moved over there. And everybody's discussing football, and everybody loved themselves some Manchester United, because in the 90s, the class of 92 and everything, they were very up and coming. Everybody was kind of falling in love with that entire era. And I remember everybody was in love with Inter Milan at that time too, because of Ronaldo was arriving there more or less. So I'm like, okay, I'm not around from these parts. I got two options here. I could just blend in, go with everybody else, or I'll just be more of a contrarian just for fuck's sake of it. And so I find out that the Arsenal also plays in England, where Manchester United plays. And I was like, without knowing what the shit I was doing, I was like, you know what? I like Arsenal. That's going to be the team that I pick, and that's what I'm going to go with. And dude, the rest was history. Till this day. I dabbled a little bit watching Real Madrid. I used to watch it substantially more, like 10, 15 years ago. But for the last decade or so, like I really streamlined it down to just Arsenal and just Milan. And man, how the mighty have fell. Let me tell you, Milan still has not got up. It's a very, very rough ride, and it's very difficult to watch that league sometime. But I still watch it because, I'm attached. I like the colors and everything. They had some great memories, great players. But Arsenal has been the one consistent, never been on or off, that I followed for flipping ever now. So 94, 96, more or less that era. So say the least, it's been 10, 20, 30 years now. So yeah, fun, man. But I would say, looking back at everything, seeing the demeanor and the reputation that clubs and their fan bases have, could have got a lot worse for me. I got to tell you. So, I mean, I think I landed on a pretty damn cool club, classy as fuck, family, represents great values, inclusive as fuck as well. All these things don't go unnoticed. So pretty happy that by happenstance, if you will, I didn't have the pleasure of being born into a family or anything, but by happenstance, I ended up supporting Arsenal, and hitched my wagon on that train, and here I am, nearly 30 years
by the
later.
grace of the footy gods, eh?
By the grace of the footy gods.
Real Ryan, a core memory of perhaps how you landed where you did.
Yeah,
The greatest club in the
so
world.
I I grew up playing club soccer, and when you're young and impressionable, you see all the best players in the world whenever you can, and you fall in love quickly. And I just remember, and obviously I know the date now, but September 30th, 2000, Arsenal United. That was the volley. Henry flips it up to himself outside the boot, just side bend, side netting over Barthez. I'm like, that's it. I'm like, that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I'm like getting ready for my game, and I'm like, he's unbelievable. I couldn't take my eyes off him after seeing that. Switched my number to 14, started pulling the socks up, started, getting vapors and getting the shoes he's wearing. I just fell in love with Henry and his style and how cool he made it look. I mean, you look at just his mixtape over the years, and he's the coolest guy I've ever seen play. Made it look so easy. You're emulating all the moves, the fake passing, the dribbles, the everything. So once I kind of hitched my wagon to him, it was all Arsenal. And then after that, you start to, fall in love with the rest of the team and how we played, and it's champagne football. And, you're doing stuff in practice, trying to be like them and everything they can do. And, and that's pretty much, if you will, it's like those 2000s is when kind of the fun stopped, right? That was like the peak. It was just like you had the Invincibles and we're doing doubles and, we're getting to Champions League finals. And then after that, it was just a period of, getting let down, right? A lot of FA Cups in between and whatnot. So I don't know what it is that just made me feel like you just can't go anywhere else, right? Like other teams were doing cool things and buying cool players and winning. And, when you're 12 and 13 and 14 and 15, it's easy to be like, you know what, like I'm going to go, God forbid, but like I'm going to go be a Chelsea fan or go, wherever, because they're winning stuff and they're buying cool players, and Arsenal is just, not as fun and not winning and, not making life easy for me. And, you're getting picked on and whatnot at school. But overall, that it's just like I never felt like I belonged anywhere else, if that makes sense. I'm like, no, like this is my team. I don't care. Like, we'll be back next year. We'll get these players. We'll do this or do that. And for some reason, that passion and that love has never changed. And it just got stronger and stronger as the years went on, even though, we went through some really dark times. But I think just as a collective, as a fan base, it kind of just reminds me a little bit of the Cubs, where it's just like you have such history that, you're just not going to not be a Cubs fan anymore. It's just next year. Like we'll just do it next year. So now that we're coming into form and we get to like win the big trophies and be in and around, the Champions League final and being one of the two best teams in the world, like it just kind of, I'm cashing in on all those years of just like struggles and everything now. So like, not that it wasn't fun, man. I loved different players over those years, but now it's just like, this is fucking awesome. And so it's even more fun than even it had been, even though, there's no chance I was going anywhere else. But that's basically when it started, man. That game, that shot, and then the rest was basically history.
Nice.
There's an obvious joke I need to make that thankfully Chelsea wasn't founded yet as a football club in the time in which you and I started watching football. So we were never at risk.
Long of the days ago, save the bridge, right? Like
yeah, exactly.
I'm actually going to ask OG Ryan a bit of a different question. It's still a bit of like core memory stuff, but do you have a core memory of Arsenal, and why is it Granit Xhaka taking off his kit and flipping off the fans?
That was fun against Palace too. I remember where I was for that game too. Oh shit, they scored again. No, I mean it's so I'm boring. My memory sucks. I held my sneezes in a lot as a kid. I still do. Lose a lot of brain cells apparently. I don't know. But anyways, it's really
wait. Does the holding in of the sneezes and the brain cells thing, is that relating to the memory?
Yeah, I've known
So
my
the
memory's
the
bad.
lack of memory, or is there the memory of
stupidity?
you
I don't
holding in
know.
your sneezes at Arsenal? Okay.
No. I mean, I'll just give you real quick it's like the stupidest, lamest story, but I was playing SOCOM US Navy SEALs. I feel like it was the best game ever. And I was in a clan with a dude named Arsenal. And I was like, oh, it's a cool name. I was like 7th grade, 8th grade. I think it's 7th grade. I was just like, oh, it's a cool name. Arsenal, like guns. It's like, it's I don't know, it's a badass name. He's like, no, it's like really nothing to do with guns or anything like that. He goes, it's the team I support. It's for Arsenal. And me and him got along really well. So I was like, oh, like that's cool. Like, I didn't know what league he was even talking about. Like, oh, I watched, because I grew up on just like Germany and like watching the German team play and international soccer. And like, that's just how I watched it. And I watched some Bundesliga at my grandma's, who's off the boat German from Stuttgart. So I watched a little there too, but nothing like England. Like, what? And so I was like, oh, well, cool. Like, I love soccer. So, like, that's my team. I'm an Arsenal fan now. Like, boom. And I didn't really think anything much of it. I did like Thierry Henry. I did like Dennis Bergkamp. There were players that, like, I vibed with, but, like, I never really, like, got to really know them while they were playing at first. And then, catching up, like, here and there. Never really watching the games too much. But I would try to stay as updated as I could, but I was more just encompassed with just, World Cup, the Euros. It was just, I don't know, it's just hard habit for me to break. But on September 2nd of 2013, when we signed Mesut Ozil, who was a favorite player of mine from the German team, I was like, well, I guess we're going to have to put a ring on this thing, and I'll have to start being serious and not cheat on her anymore. And I fully kind of immersed myself in the Arsenal world and learning a bunch of stuff and like getting really deep into it. Because I knew Dennis Bergkamp, I knew Ian Wright, but like really get into it, learn more about Rocky Rocastle, learn more about Patrick Vieira and like the toughness of our midfield and the way we play champagne football. Really like bogged down. And I mean, the rest is history. It's not as fun, but I don't have like a specific game or anything like that. But a lame story, but I'm happy where it ended up. And
not lame at all, man. It's not lame at all.
I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah, it's not lame at all. My story goes back a little further, but I'm not gonna get too much into the history. Suffice it to say that I watched a game when I was a kid. I have no recollection of it whatsoever. Don't remember it at all. It was the final of the 1989 season. We all know which game I'm referring to, the 2-0 at Anfield. But I have no recollection of this, but my grandfather has a recollection of it, and I've heard this story so many times that I can repeat it damn near verbatim the way that he's explained it to people. Like, why aren't you a soccer fan, but your grandson is like this massive, this huge soccer fan, but my grandfather can't spell soccer, let alone know anything about it. But apparently he saw something in a 10-year-old boy watching a game that was broadcast here in America some 2 months after it actually happened, give or take, that he pursued trying to build an interest in me. And what's funny is I never played. I never, ever played. Ever. Not one proper game. Ever. I was a hockey player when I was a kid. Baseball when I was young. But never as the lads say, never had a proper kickabout. But I was in love with a team that had a shirt that said JVC on it because my grandparents had a JVC VCR, and that was how I correlated the two. And what really set it apart for me, if we're gonna bring up a specific goal or specific game, was Thierry Henry against Liverpool, and he absolutely undressed Jamie Carragher in the box. And when he broke Jamie Carragher's ankles, that I remember watching. I was living in Colorado, and I had the Fox Sports soccer package, and I jumped out of my seat. It wasn't even the goal. It was the breaking of the ankles. It was oh, I'm going to date myself on this one really bad, but it was the Tim Hardaway crossover. For those NBA fans of the 90s, it was the Tim Hardaway crossover that just like you just turned into a puddle of meat with eyes if he did that to you. And that was Thierry Henry against Jamie Carragher in 2004 at Highbury. And I've actually been fortunate enough to stand in Highbury behind where that actually happened. Now, not live or when it was still Highbury, it was long after. But to just stand there and look down at that spot on the pitch and be like, I think I see Jamie Carragher's Achilles tendon still resting there on the pitch. I'm not sure, but for me, that's really what solidified it. And you know, the longer that this love affair of mine with the Arsenal has grown and festered, and it's turned into what we're doing here tonight, what we're going to continue to do, hopefully, and do well. There's a quote from Dennis Bergkamp, and I'm not going to try and remember it verbatim, but basically it just says you don't follow a football team for the wins or for the trophies. You follow a football team because somewhere in there you found yourself. You found somewhere where you belong, and this club has become such a passion of mine over the years. But yeah, 1989, a time that I don't remember, but my grandfather does vividly, and has told the story. But then 2004 and the Thierry Henry goal, and I mean the Thierry Henry in general, and Dennis Bergkamp, and the things that those teams could do, as you all have said, the champagne football. It's kind of crazy that a kid who grew up playing hockey and baseball, you know, is in love with a sport that he's never played, and I think that's. For me, it's a bit ironic. For me personally, it's a bit ironic, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And the friends that I have made, it's not even. I tell people this all the time. If you haven't been, you need to go, because it's fandom when you're over here and you feel it and you get excited and you love it. But when you get over there and you're outside the stadium on a match day, and then you go into the stadium and you're in the concourse, and it just feels different. It's so different. And I've been to a lot of sporting events in my life, and I mean a lot of American sporting events, and there's just no comparison. It just does not compare to anything that we do over here. And that's not to slight American sports. I love my American sports, but it's different. It feels like, you know, there's an American saying, like, you're in the stadium and you're there with 60,000 of your closest friends. Over there, you're with 60,000 family members. And I know it sounds corny and hokey and whatever, but I mean it. I've been there, and that's legitimately how it feels. I look around and it's just like, there's nowhere in the world I'd rather be when I'm over there than right there, right in that moment. But for me, that's a bit of the history for me. So the name of the show, fellas, is The Arsenal Standard. And we've heard over the years, especially the lean years, that we're not behaving the way we should. We're not living up to the standard. So, Real Ryan, I'm going to start with you. And when you hear me say the Arsenal Standard, what is the Arsenal Standard? What does that mean to you, if you could put words onto it?
Well, you know, it's like the club has the history of, you know, the Arsenal way, right? And it's just like how we go about things, trying to, you know, do everything the right way. And I think, you know, I know our fans will say it a lot, but I feel like around the world, like, we're considered, you know, a classy club, right? You know, maybe we've made some decisions in the past that weren't, you know, the best, but overall, I think we try to do things the right way. You know, we're not, you know, wrapped up in any of these, you know, financial scandals. You know, we try to treat players the right way. You know, I remember the story about, you know, El Neni making the prayer room, and, you know, a lot of the players are appreciating that they had a place to go and pray. And it just feels like, you know, that's the Arsenal way. Like, that's us being a classy club. So that's kind of where for me where it comes from, and I appreciate that a lot, and even for myself, one of the first teams to field 10 African American players, inclusive, community, all that, just I kind of feel like is what we're all about. So it's something that is important to me, and it's something that I think is important to the higher ups at the club, and Arteta and management and everything. So to me, that's ultimately what it means, and that's just the standard. Trying to do things the right way, treating players right, fans, everything. So that's where it lands.
Mike, you hear the name of the show. What is the standard to you?
Ryan summed up a lot of off the field things. I would say I kind of alluded to it, saying seeing our club from the outside in comparison to other clubs and how they do business, other clubs and how they treat players, and our how inclusive our fan base is. I think he nailed it as far as the outside. I'm gonna divert it a little bit on the inside, and on the inside, I had this feeling, and it was during the Kroenke era, when they were like they had exclusively bought it. Maybe it was like towards the end when Arsene Wenger was still here. And who was the guy that sold their share to the Kroenkes? It was Usmanov. Yeah. So I had a really, I like to think it's very normal to go through waves in your fandom in which sometimes, we joke around about being toxically positive or toxic negativity, right? And like venture on and off. And I think a lot of it is depending on your mindset, on where you are. And my mindset wasn't all that great the last few years for Arsene Wenger. And I often cite this, and I get a lot of flack for it. And I say, I remember the statement that Van Persie put out, and saying that it wasn't about the money, but he asked about what we were doing as a club in the near future. And he said that nothing that they said gave him hope that they wanted to win anything. And the day of, obviously, like every other Arsenal supporter, I was pissed off. I didn't believe him, and I said, "Fuck off fuck off to this guy, right? We hung out with you through injuries, everything, and you finally have a good season, and now you're leaving us. Stings. I was upset. I didn't believe it. But then, if you start looking at the transfer, dealings after, and it became very evident, and Arsene Wenger has admitted to it as much, where it says, hey, it was about remaining competitive, remaining in the top four for the money, and paying off the stadium debt. And I could fully understand all the context, but I do feel like at that point, our club just took one too many shortcuts, if you will. And I just didn't relate Arsenal to that. And I know that we were all coming off from the major highs of the early 2000s, and like, how can it compare? Like, that wasn't the standard that I think any team could live up with, right? Nobody could live up to Invincibles and all that, right? But I do feel like we lost our way as far as truly trying to challenge for a title versus truly trying to challenge for top four. And I will say that, I don't want to put out the energy that it's our God-given right to be like, oh, we have to win. But yeah, I kind of do. I grew up in the era where, second and third were like really, first, second, and third were really common. So I guess that's my sporting thing, where like I just felt like, don't bring me insert dude. Who's the Jewish player that they brought from Chelsea last minute, like as a loan? Can't even remember this guy's name. Anyways, they were making some really silly like loan deals and stuff like that, and it was nothing about, you weren't improving the team, so to say, but you kept on kind of replacing them with cheap bargains or loaning things in. And it was just a sucky time, because I would go into the season thinking, oh man, these guys don't really want to win anything. They just want to sustain. And I always kind of used to relate qualifying to the Champions League to Americans almost as American owners view making playoffs, which is, it's good enough to help you sell merchandise, but not good enough to, like, yes, you're in playoffs, so hooray, I was a winning team, but you're not really in the fucking conversation to win anything. And I felt like we
You are
Go.
describing right now everything about the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I absolutely love. Sorry,
Yeah.
if I
Yeah,
can
no.
dig on the Pittsburgh, I'm gonna get a dig in. I'm sorry, I had to continue.
Players. Now it's driving me crazy. So I'm gonna actually look up this one player because, and I only remember, I only remember because Mike Feinberg. It was Benayoun. And I only remember because Mike made so many Jewish jokes when we first got it. But it was like I was like looking at these transfers and I'm like, come on, dude, surely. I mean, look, even the benefit of hindsight has been in history has been kind to Olivier Giroud, right? But bringing in Giroud to replace Van Persie at the time was very, very controversial, right? And then we had Shamak around that time. We had Sinogo, and that's when you're like, well, you start like looking around, like, did they forget to like hit the 99 rating on FIFA or something? Like, do they not know could players exist? And it was a difficult time. And I truly believe good on the Cronkies. They kind of really steered the ship in the right way. They changed the culture entirely. And I mean, right now, and I said this a few times while I was frustrated last year. Last year we were champions technically. The summer, the league before that when we finished second again. It was frustrating, but still really cool fucking league. Like I think qualifying for quarterfinals, semifinals to Champions League, finishing, potentially first or second throughout the entire season, I could almost walk away from the season and say, cool, we tried our best. Because I realize only one team gets to win the league. So very long answer there, BG. That's why I told you I was going to struggle with this the time cap thing in 2 minutes or less thing. But yeah, that's more or less, man. I not a lot of meat on the bones there, Ryan. Talk to us.
OG?
I got nothing. I don't know. To me, it's simply just the way we play on the pitch and the way we play off the pitch. Our culture, our culture that we had when I first became a supporter, and the culture that we've established kind of when Mikel Arteta arrived. Yeah, I think that's the most concise way I can describe it. I mean, if I were to really dig into it, I'd be talking as long as Mike. But yeah, the fact that we could be such a tight-knit family, yet be such a, yes, Mike, I'm about to say it, a fucking ginormous, gargantuan club, I think is just so awesome. And the fact that you have players constantly saying, once a gunner, always a gunner. That's just a standard. Like once you leave here, you're still a part of the family. And I love that our family is huge and our club is huge and we rule. Yeah.
I'll say this about the standard. The standard for me, if you understand that sports are two things. Sports are entertainment. Sports are also a business. And for us, it's the entertainment, but it's also a bit of an obsession. The business side of things is where the players and the front office ownership, where they come into play. And so for me, kind of keeping that in mind, everything that Real Ryan said off the pitch about this club and the way that we conduct ourselves is spot on. In terms of the on-field, product for me, I would say that the standard is always trying to achieve greatness. But the goalposts can move, because if you would have asked me what the standard was 6 years ago, I would have given you a different answer, because we were not where we are right now. The standard has changed. The standard is now the standard. Where have we heard that before? But no, the standard now, Premier League champions. Well, nothing short of that next year is going to be the standard, right? I mean, obviously, I don't even want to speak it into existence, but barring certain things out of control, out of our control, out of the club's control, the standard is now achieving greatness, winning trophies, and being known as the best in the world. That will change again eventually. It will change again. There will come a time where we may need to tear down and look at a slight, short, but albeit necessary rebuild. And the standard will change then. And the standard then will be stay competitive, try to stay in the top four. And it kind of does go back to the beginning of the Emirates era where, you know, Mike, you brought up Alisher Usmanov and him selling, you know, all of the shares to the Cronkies and them having, you know, full and complete autonomy over the club. The standard then was a little different because there was, within their business model, they weren't able to do things that we as supporters wanted them to do. So the standard for me is everything off the pitch, outside of the Emirates Stadium, as the real Ryan said, that will never change. That will never change. And that means that we will always be off the pitch a very classy, if not the classiest club in the world. And there's something to be said about that. But on the pitch, I believe it'll change. But I think if I had to put a nice little ribbon on it, and it would be just always striving to achieve greatness. And that will look different from, you know, from time to time, in my opinion. So, I think, you know, as far as, you know, ourselves and, you know, individuals, what the show is, what we hope the show will be, all of that good stuff. I think we've sufficiently covered that. Along those lines, is there anything that anybody wants to add? Is there anything that somebody wanted to say they didn't get a chance to? OG, I know you're not bored to tears yet, but was there anything else you wanted to say on this at all? No? Okay. All right. Good talk, buddy. He's so enthralled with whatever else it is he's got going on there.
I'm too busy arguing with BX in the live chat right now, so I could fully concentrate on the Arsenal. But
I am going.
Not to make this like transfer heavy, but
No.
even if it's a simple yes or no, guys, where are you guys on Vinny Jr.? Because like my most unpopular opinion in current state of football.
Real quick, hold your thought. Just real. What I was going to say was we'll end the show with a wicked hot take.
Okay, well, hey, look.
Listen.
Here I am.
If you take nothing away from this show tonight, take away the fact that we're all pretty much sharing a brain at one point in time or another. That's tremendous. Mike, go. Take it away.
It's just BX made the joke about little 8-pound, 10-ounce baby Jesus. Please bring him Vinny Jr. And I respond, no. I call me crazy, dude. I don't rate him. I don't think he's like, I don't put him in the top 5 conversation of wingers. And if you ask me who is there, I don't think I could answer. I don't know, guys. There's something about him that I don't like. I see real Ryan just being puzzled.
Not in the top 5?
What are you talking about?
Dude, I know he had a banger of a goal versus Morocco, but I don't know, dude. There's something about
he should have won the Ballon d'Or. Like, what are we talking about?
I respectfully disagree.
What?
There's my hot take, and I swear, guys, cross my heart, hope to die. This is literally just me not rating him. Like I generally
probably think Mbappe sucks too.
Mbappe's kind of good at football.
Yeah.
I just on the Vinny Jr. thing. In theory, I yes, absolutely. In FIFA, if I've got the funds in FIFA, yep, I'd go buy him.
If I'm being honest with myself, it's probably the attitude thing, because I also dislike Neymar for a large portion of his career, because I just can't do with the diving and like the theatrical shit. It's something that genuinely plays a part in how I view a player, and it's like I just see him and his antics and the diving and the winding people up, and I was like, you know what? I'm good. I don't need it. You know, we spoke a little bit about Arsenal having class, and I was like, I don't think Mikel Arteta could beat that out of him. That's all I'm saying, dude.
Short answer, would I take him? Probably not. Here's why. All right.
He's losing his head with us.
I'll explain why. This is the way that I view Real Madrid, and it's actually the same way that I view Brazil as a team. And OG, you're the international guy. I mean, you love international football as far as I know. So Tell me if I'm wrong, if you think I'm full of shit when I say this. But teams like Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Brazil, the national team, are a collection of individuals. They're not a team. And Vinny Jr. fits that mold to it. He's a great footballer. Real Ryan, don't misunderstand me. In certain instances, I'd bite your hand off to get him to Arsenal. What this club is right now, I don't think he fits. I think it's too much me. And that's why I wouldn't take him, because I think he completely shatters the attitude, the camaraderie, the harmony that exists in our dressing room at the Emirates with the club that we currently have. And to be honest with you, I'd say the same thing about Mbappe. I don't know that I'd want him on this team. That's my. That wasn't gonna be my hot take for where I was. What I was gonna the last topic of the night here. But BX, you're you know what, you're all right. Oh man, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're really not wrong. Real Ryan, you are chomping at the bit, man.
No, I'm not even. I mean, well, the reason why I was chomping at that bit was that the first thing that Mike said is like, I don't think he's top 5, which is absolutely fucking insane. Like, you can say you don't like the guy or you think he could be a cancer, but to say he's not one of the top 5 left wingers in the world is absolutely nuts. Yeah, he definitely has. Star wide receiver diva vibes. I won't, lie to you, like he does. But it honestly, if it's up to me, like I'm taking the chance, I'm trusting my manager that he'll make sure that he sees the light, the fucking standards. Okay. So that's why I have trust. If we had a pushover like Unai Emery, maybe I feel differently. We saw how he was with PSG and they ran all over him, laughed him out of there. But yeah, I mean, if we were in for him, come on.
What do you think it would cost?
Oh God.
200?
No.
I love that I Google searched top 10 current wingers and Martinelli and Trossard made the list on the top 10 according to Google.
That's the wrong list. No.
Wow.
I love that.
Wow.
I also
where's Vinny?
top 10
Mike,
wingers.
is that Sports Illustrated? Because I saw that same list.
Trossard, I'm just saying Trossard's top 10. I don't want to hear you badmouth him again, Ryan. That's all
Where
I'm
is
saying.
Vinny Jr. on that list, Mike?
Literally number 1.
Number 1.
Well, we already called it a fake list, so.
Real Ryan, is he the best winger in the world to you? If not, where is he, and who would you put ahead of him?
So
it's weird, right? Because like I would think like Carvajal would be better for us.
That's
because I think like he'll do what we would want our guy to do. He tracks back, he works hard, none of the nonsense, like he doesn't dive. So yeah, like we would probably prefer that. So it's like, okay, well, like I get it. Like in terms of just like talent, I'm blanking on who I think is better.
Mike, read the list.
The list goes number 1, Vinny Jr., 2, Kvaratskhelia, Rafinha, Barcola, Luis Diaz, Son, Nico Williams, Martinelli, Trossard, and Jeremy Doku.
Are they not considering Desiree Doué a winger?
In my head, I wasn't thinking so much left and right when I said the top 5, because I Doué and Olise from Bayern Munich, I like them more than Vinny Jr. Kvaratskhelia, Rafinha, Barcola, all of them, I like them more. I mean, I would argue with you with Luis Diaz, and again, man, potentially I'm letting the diving and stuff cloud my judgment, but I'm sure if I Google search Luis Diaz stats, there'll be good stats, right? It's not. I'm not gonna say he probably has 10 plus goals or some shit, and it's probably 16 matches. When he plays 16 World Cup. Sorry, gentlemen. Let's go Bayern Munich. Past year, 15 goals.
Yeah.
And 14 assists. Okay, 15 and 14. Vinny Jr. stats. Let's get Real Madrid. 16 and 5. Slightly better output from Diaz, and we could start splitting hairs over leagues and teams and all that jazz. And I know I am aware that Real Madrid had a relatively down season, but that was the top 10 list according to Google. I just Google searched it to see what it said. I was curious, but I was putting the gentleman Duame from PSG and Elise ahead of Vinny Jr. in my head. Personally, but that's just, opinion of mine. One thing we all seem to agree on is that Vinny Jr. might not be the guy for the Arsenal.
Yeah, that's my only thing with him is I just don't think he fits. I just don't think he fits what it is it's not that he doesn't fit what I don't think he fits what we do the more I think about it, but he just doesn't suit this team, in my opinion, in any way, shape, or form. That's just you would go and get him if we'd won the quadruple and we weren't selling anyone, or we were, we had an open spot on the roster and we just had fuck you money. That would be it. Like, I don't like the links to him because I don't think he fits here. That's just me. Real Ryan, do you have a ridiculously hot take that you'd like to share with us to kind of bow out here on a crazy note like
no,
Mike just gave us?
no. I think just that conversation sparks some activity.
Yeah, right.
That's funny. Well, because like I'm over the like we need guys to track back and work hard on defense shit. I'm over that. Like,
preach.
We've already built our team to eliminate a lot of that nonsense behind. So like, yeah, you guys don't like Vinny personality wise, whatever, cool. But like a prereq for me is like, well, does he track back and get back on defense? If not, like, I just can't be having that. Like, I don't care about that anymore. So when we look at left wingers, I just want to out and out stud, whatever. If he doesn't get back and defend, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm over that. I don't want to hear that anymore about people tracking back. Do not care. So hopefully, and this is probably a conversation for another time. I'm not loving, if we're bringing in Rodgers to be our left wing, I'm going to have an issue. So
why do you gotta say that?
That's
what I was gonna say.
It's just a different conversation, but I'm not. That's not what I'm looking for out there. But we'll get
Interesting.
Another time.
Okay. Hey, that's a bit of a hot take. I like that. That's a bit of a hot take.
We're gonna all end up. We started this pod as friends. We're gonna all end as enemies.
Knives are out.
OG, do you got a hot take you want to give us?
I mean, you guys both took. Yeah, I mean, both of y'all took it. I don't want Morgan Rodgers. He's just Eze to me. I don't know. I don't see where he fits. Like, I don't understand it. We need a left winger very badly. If we had to pick one position we need to upgrade, I'm sorry, Leo Char is not it. Mike, take it. Take that. We need to upgrade left wing massively. Morgan Rodgers isn't it. Vinny Jr. isn't it. I didn't really kind of get my say in. He's a cunt. I don't want him. It's simple. It's very simple. Don't want him near our club. Honestly, I'd rather have Mbappe than Vinny Jr. But yeah, I agree. I think Rodgers. I don't agree. I don't think Rodgers is way above Eze. But if I had to pick which one to be on the team, I'd probably lean Rodgers. But we already have Eze, so like I'm not gonna sell Eze to sign Rodgers either. So yeah, I just don't. His metrics aren't good. From the numbers I've seen, and I mean, I know numbers aren't everything, but he likes to play in the middle of the pitch. We need a left winger. Like I don't like it, and that's why like Mike talked about how he didn't really understand the Eze signing, or he said it was a vibe signing. You didn't really like it. I liked it because it was a vibe signing, but like I don't understand. I didn't understand either. Like I've been like just like we've been dying for a striker for all these years. I'm dying for a left winger. I'm dying. I need one. And Vinny's not it. Morgan Rogers ain't it. Me and 3 Point Sniper are like gushing over Diamonde on the he plays for Leipzig. He's on the Ivory Coast team.
You
He's
won't be. What word did you use?
What
What you just said? You're what over him?
we're gushing over.
Gushing. Thank you. You won't be gushing when he plays his home games at Anfield.
I was gonna say, but we're signing what's his face from Leicester, Moga.
Yeah, that's he's for the future.
But Diamonde's 19, Munga's what 16, 17. So it's like we're not gonna sign both. So if we're already signing the Leicester guy, we're not in for him. So it's whatever. I think he's gonna be a real player. He's still young, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see who we sign because I don't know if our left winger is out there to massively upgrade us. I don't think he's out there, at least for what we want to pay. Because if it's me, yeah, I'm taking Kvaratskhelia all day long. But PSG ain't gonna sell him, not to us. And if they were to, in some world, do that, we're gonna have to pay we're have to break some kind of record. We're gonna have to probably buy a small country or something, and then sell that, and then pay for him.
Here's I don't know.
Maybe Cape Verde.
Oh,
Go ahead,
I was going to say it's crazy to hear Ryan admit that there's no replacing Leandro Trossard.
But he's not good. But he's not good enough.
He's not.
No, you know what's crazy? I felt so bad for Trossard today. Like Belgium are a bunch of dummies. They're bad out there trying to do everything.
Yeah.
I just felt so bad for him, man. Oh God.
Yeah.
Dude, one of the best tweets I see regarding players is so De Bruyne didn't have a great game, right? And everybody's saying he's old and washed, but he's one of the best players in Serie A. So I love when a Serie A team gets linked with somebody that's literally in England, they're letting you go because it's 32, because you're just too old, you can't do it anymore. And then I see a random Italian account saying that's 21 in Italian years. I just love it because that's what comes to mind, because we're if Trossard goes to Napoli, he's gonna ball out like a fucking. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just, you already know. It's just,
he will.
Yeah, it's not dog years, it's Serie A years now. It's completely different conversion.
I'll give. I don't know if this will be a hot take. It ties into the Morgan Rogers thing. I agree. Okay, two things can be true at the same time. I say this all the time. I agree with everything you guys are saying about Morgan Rogers, but I also do agree with what LL Cool James is saying. He is that player that James is describing, but he won't do that here. He's another iteration of what Victor Gyökeres was before he got here. He'll be a different player if he comes here. Morgan Rogers will be a different player than what LL Cool James is describing him as. He will become a different player because those players, while that's what he is and that's what we need, and if he were to come here and play that way. Here's my hot take. The transfers this year, and I think you guys know where I'm going to go with this. The player won't really matter. What matters is Arteta. Will he let the player that he brings in be the player that he is, or is he going to bring the player in and make him play a system that
Ryan's
doesn't
not
suit
going to
him?
sleep tonight.
Jesus fucking Christ. Why? Nothing.
You didn't want to be bored tonight. Are you bored?
Another show, boys. Another show.
I was very bored.
It is definitely another show. It is.
I was very bored until you said that. Now I'm like, what the fuck? What planet am I on?
There's another great comment talking about dog year in Serie A years. Look, McTominay left United, went to Napoli, and became nominated to the Ballon d'Oro.
Right.
I mean,
right?
Bro, it's where you go to revive your career, boys.
Now maybe I'll go there. I can revive my podcasting career. What do you think? I don't know.
After what you just said, you might need to.
All right. You get the last say on this. Go. I gotta hear it.
It definitely matters who we bring in.
Yes.
You can't
okay.
teach.
There was a fair amount of hyperbole in that statement.
Okay.
But
I really want to. I think I think what's tripping me up is I really want a guy with pace. I want a guy with that'll just burn you. We need someone that'll burn. So, let's face it, Saka's not going to burn you. He's going to dribble past you, which is like to an extent, I guess, good too. I mean, it is good, but I want a guy that's just going to just run for days and just run you. I mean, to be fair, like kind of is Martinelli was. I don't know, but yeah. I think that's why also like a big reason why we like Diamonde so much is he's raw. Like you can teach a lot of stuff, and he's just so fast. And he's fast with the ball, and like I think what he lacks is, and I've talked to people like they think he lacks end product. Which good at 19, if you're very fast, you're good with the ball, you're technical, and you just lack end product. Like I don't care. That's
okay, but
fine.
we currently have enough of that right now.
But. With like the likes
think of who is on this
but
team
again,
with pace to burn,
Bukayo
who
Saka,
lacks end product, and more often than not,
name me a player.
Starting 11.
Name me a player that has everything you just said besides Martinelli. I don't think anybody on our team is fast. Like Madueke,
your boy, the dude that you scream about. They're only paying him $10 a week. It doesn't matter how we paid £60 million for. They're only giving him a Happy Meal every 5 days.
So I know you're gonna laugh at this. Madueke is quick. I want someone fast. There's a difference between being fast and being quick.
I agree.
Madueke is quick.
He's
not fast.
Madueke is fast.
I want
both.
Fast.
I won't take away he's quick.
He's both, but okay.
See, I think
also
Martinelli's fast. I don't think Martinelli's quick, but I think Madueke is both.
I agree with. Okay. I actually agree with that. The thing also is we tried Madueke at left wing, and he hasn't really gone back, and I don't think he will. And to be fair, I don't think Madueke is the answer. If we want to like win Champions League, win Premier League, like really like hammer it down, I don't think Madueke is there yet. He could get there. He's not there yet, and I don't like. That's not. You could just tell it's not in the cards for him. Him in the cards is he's going to back up Saka, who is battling through stuff. So Madueke is probably going to see more time, whether we like it or not, on that right wing. But no, there's nobody on my team that I'm like, I want this guy's fast. I want a guy that's just like, oh, like look at that boy go. Like I think we have just a lot of quick players, not fast. I want fast.
LA Koji James just killed me in the comments.
I gotta get away from this because I don't
think Madueke is that fast. I don't know. Maybe I gotta watch more. I don't know.
This goes back to my favorite tweet that I read during the Champions League. Here comes Martinelli and Madueke to pose fear in his own teammates. Again, one of my favorite tweets I read.
We're gonna end here, and this is a great conversation, but we will do this for another hour, and I don't know that any of us has another hour in us to keep going because it is now 25 after 11, and I know at least two of you probably have to go to sleep and get up for work in the morning, and you are also all fathers, so happy Father's Day once again to the three of you. I hope you guys all enjoyed your day. Mike, I'm going to give you first dibs at just a final thought. Anything that we talked about tonight, please don't make it another hot take where we're all going to jump on it and try to get a say.
I typed my final thought in the live chat. Sell Eze. Was that not a good thought? No, because I don't. No, I think we got. I think it was a nice, productive conversation, all things considered, and I think this last 10-15 minutes we really ventured on. So I can't wait for a transfer podcast because clearly a lot of us have different thoughts
in a week.
Because I'm generally curious because honestly, left wing isn't even my main priority. I'll leave you.
Here we go.
Here
we go.
That's it, cliffhanger. I'm done.
It's another hot take.
We need to upgrade on the goalkeeper.
But I was the hot take guy.
OG, give me a final thought.
I'm excited to get this Arsenal standard started. I'm excited to meet new people, talk to new people, talk to old people, and I want Harvey Barnes over Vinny Jr. There's my hot take. I think Harvey Barnes. Because I think we're bringing in young guys, Manga, to really for the future. I mean, he's played meaningful minutes in the championship. So I think he's going to come sooner rather than later.
Save it.
Harvey Barnes.
Save it.
Sign him. That's it. That's my hot take. Harvey Barnes. I want Harvey Barnes.
Elliot, while we're at it.
Real Ryan.
I don't. Yeah.
And you know what?
I don't
They both left on a cliffhanger. You may as well too.
No, I have no. The only hot take I have that was funny is, hey, maybe Anthony Gordon would have been all right. You know, maybe he would.
God, I'd rather have Vinny Jr. than Anthony Gordon.
He's gonna rip it up. Watch. No, but halfway.
With La Liga, jeez.
Yeah.
Theo's gonna rip up in the French league in like a year.
Yeah, you want to talk about fast? He's fast.
Ugh.
No, I mean, we'll talk about it in obviously the transfer, gathering, but no cliffhangers, no nothing, no notes. That's fine. I'll save everything for them.
Anything to end on?
I do. I campaigned to sign Chris Wood at a funeral last year. Fun fact, James Johnson. I was at a funeral telling my friends, dude, we could use Chris Wood.
I'll never forgive him for all those misses from Forrest. I'm not over it.
Yeah, it's been a good show. I feel good about this. I'm glad that we did this and I don't want to say got it out of the way, but I'm hoping that this will reach, a new audience. And again, just to reiterate what I said at the beginning, that we're going to bring more people in and we can turn this show into something that's going to get into people's rotations, whether it be, on YouTube, in your car. We are on Spotify, we are on Apple Podcasts, we will be on Amazon, we will be on Overcast in due time. We will be on we're on the two heavy hitters as far as podcasts go. You can search the Arsenal Standard on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. And again, if Amazon or one of the other lesser knowns or your streaming platform of choice will be there in due course. But certainly want to thank these guys for being on here with me. And this is pretty much your panel. At least I hope that it will be, I'll say, 3 of the 4 of us at any given time. So hopefully, we can make that work, but it'll be at least 2. And there will be more content coming. We're going to give you some World Cup talk coming in the middle of the week. We'll give you a transfer show, a transfer primer in 1 week's time, whether it be Sunday, whether it be Monday, is still up in the air, but we will be back with a full-on transfer show. And then after we get all of the names out there that we're interested in, that we're linked with, things like that, then we'll get into probably in the midweek, we'll do some player breakdowns and analysis and talk about a couple of individual players and what they bring or what we don't like about them. As we kind of started to do tonight. And I think those will be pretty interesting shows. So stay tuned for that. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Thank you, everybody in the chat for being here. I'm not going to shout you guys out. You know who you are. But thank you very much for the interaction. That's what it's all about. And, we really love that. If you're watching a replay and you've got a comment, please leave a comment. I will read them all, and I will make sure that these guys see them as well. And if you're listening, playback on one of the podcast networks, get in touch. And if you want to be a part of the show with the comments, then get here on YouTube or on X and do it that way. So I think that is just about it. Once again, a very happy Father's Day to the 3 of these gentlemen and to every father listening and watching within the sound of my voice. It has been good footy time.